All right. Okay, well, now that everyone has joined us, I want to take the time and thank you for coming and joining us in today's webinar on Drupal Commerce. My name is Jared Semenoff. I'm a business developer here at Acromedia. And with me today is Mike Hubbard, our front-end developer, who will be giving the demo using our Urban Hipster site. A little bit of housekeeping before we begin. You'll notice there is a poll on your screen. If you haven't already, please take a second to answer the 2 quick questions. Next up, if you have any questions during the demo or you'd like us to expand on a certain topic, please use the chat option at the bottom of your screen, and we'll be sure to answer them as we go along. There will be time for Q&A at the end, but feel free to submit questions as we go. In today's demo, we'll be reviewing the following topics that are based on requests that were made by you. Today we'll cover product attributes, order management, checkout flows, product creation, and blogging capabilities. If you have any other topics that you'd like to discuss, once again, please send them through the chat and we'll be sure to address them. We've booked 1 hour for this demo. We'll be recording it, which will be emailed out afterwards. So now that that's out of the way, I'll pass it over to Mike.
Thank you, Jared. All right, so before I get started with some of the topics that you'd like us to cover, just want to give a brief description on Drupal and just kind of how it works for those of you who are joining us that might be new to Drupal. So Drupal is a platform. It's an open source platform, meaning that there's a large community of people that are all working together to make the software better. Drupal started as a content management system, which basically was best used for things like blogging and just content creation. Because Drupal is so developer friendly and extensible, you've seen Drupal over the years expand into many other offerings on what it can do, one of which is commerce. And so Acromedia and Commerce Guys and some of the other larger commerce players out there work together to build the commerce platform on top of Drupal. So you get all of the same content management that you're used to with Drupal and its ability to do that, now bundled with a fully featured commerce plugin platform that allows you to do anything commerce and run an e-commerce store as well. So first things about Drupal and about Drupal Commerce is that once you're building a site, the first thing you would do is configure it and get the site functional. Then it has a whole separate theming aspect to it where you can then template any part of Drupal, whether it's a page or a specific piece of content or a rich media slider like we're seeing on the page. You can then theme all of these elements to do and look like and act however you want. So our Urban Hipster Drupal Commerce demo, which you can visit anytime by visiting commerceplus.acromedia.com, is a site that has been configured and set up, and then we've themed it to look like you're seeing on my screen here. So some of the features that this demo has is it has a nice homepage that has some common elements that you would see, rich media sliders that you can promote products or whatever, different call to actions kind of scattered throughout the site. We have some unique products that showcase kind of the custom product abilities with Drupal. So out of the box, you can configure Drupal Commerce to handle pretty basic products that you would like product pages using common elements like image galleries, descriptions, spec lists, related products, those types of things. But if you have a very unique product or something that's requires kind of a unique product page that's not kind of the norm, you can do that as well. And so we have the Urban Lumberjack axe and Sir Mix-a-Bit, and these custom mason jars that kind of show you examples of how you can kind of flex Drupal's theming engine to kind of create these more interesting product pages. You also have the ability to feature products, feature by categories, put products on sale, all of that type of stuff. quite easily once it's all set up and configured. Our product catalog that we have in this site uses something called Solr, Search API in Solr. So Drupal is API first, meaning that you can connect to a variety of different types of software via their APIs, softwares and services, in order to kind of extend what Drupal can do as well. So the Search API and Solr is a way of creating a catalog based on search terms, basically. So instead of having just a very rigid catalog that's based on maybe certain categories, Solr lets you use any type of data that's in your products or in your blog or any type of content, and filter the products or the data based on like whatever data types that you want. So whether that's searching by a brand, or whether that's a category, or by a color, or by a price, or latest, most recent added, anything like that, certain specifications, model numbers, whatever you need it to do, you can create a catalog very easily based on that specific data type. So here we're looking at our just kind of a basic catalog page, and I'll jump into one of the products. I'll go into this mason jar here. So here you see a product page. And like I said earlier, these product pages can be changed or customized to do whatever you had to look however you want them to. We've kind of mimicked more of the more traditional standard product page layout. So we've got a nice image gallery here where you can click on the image to make it larger. Then we have our product information, so our title, the cost of the product, and then we have product attributes. So product attributes are assigned to products, and they allow you to set up things like colors, size. If you have shirts, you'd have your shirt size. You might have like a style drop down. It can be used to define any type of attribute for a product. So anything that, if you want to give your customers the ability to change or customize the product that they're purchasing, that's where the attributes come in. So in this case, we've got glass color, straw color, lid color, and the customer can go in, choose whichever options they like, and you can see the image is updating on the side. When they've decided on what product they like, or which variation of the product that they would like, they can update the quantity if they want and add the product to their cart. So you get a nice little message here saying the product's been added to the cart. We have a little flyout here. Let me just move this. Got a little flyout here that shows you the current contents of your cart, and you can actually go to view the full cart and check out right there if you like. But before I leave this page, just kind of show you some of the other things related to this product page. So down below we have a larger description area, an optional tab for specifications for this product, and then user submitted reviews with a pretty basic rating system. So this is kind of a very simple review setup. It can be much more robust. You can have things like, if you want to allow your customers to answer questions, similar to what Amazon would do if somebody asks a question, allow your customers to answer those questions. Those types of things can be done. Just because Drupal is so flexible and developer friendly, you can build and enhance it in whatever way you want. Moving on here, we have recommended products. So these are all assigned at the product level in this case, where when you're editing this product, you can link to additional recommended products, which then show up right here. All right, so I guess since we're talking about products, maybe I'll get into product creation and what the admin interface might look like for that, and how you might set up a new product. So if I log in here, just so I can access the admin menu, Okay, so I've logged in. As an administrator, I see this bar up at the top here. This is consistent with Drupal for all administrators. The items that you see here may be a little bit different or can be different depending on user roles and access permissions. So I'm a full-fledged admin at the moment here, so I see everything. Whereas there is, you can optionally, assign different user roles to let people do certain things. So if you have a marketing team and all you want them to do is manage your blog or something like that, you can assign them that, like you can create a role and allow them to do just that, and they won't see any of the commerce stuff or anything like that. So it's very granular in how you can configure those permissions to allow your staff or whoever to do whatever it is they like. And just to note that this demo site, like I said, it's available at commerceplus.acromedia.com. You can go there and you can actually log in and play around yourself using the username and password as demo admin, all one word, DEMOAADADMIN, demo admin. So yeah, feel free to go there after this presentation or whenever and log in and click around and see what you can do. You don't have to worry about breaking the site. It'll refresh every night at midnight. So whatever's broken will be fixed, and you can play around again the next day. All right, so let's go back to the product that I was just looking at before, the mason jar, now that I'm logged in. So as an admin, if I would like to edit an existing product, I can go to the product that I'd like to edit, and there's now this edit button that has appeared. Another way to get to all of your products to edit them is to go through Commerce and Products here. And so I'll click on that just to show you that part. And so this gives you a list of all of the products that have been added to the website. So I've got the mason jar right here, so I can edit it as well by clicking on Edit here. And so now we're looking at kind of the basic admin edit page for any type of content. It would look very similar, whether it's a blog post or a product or anything else. The way Drupal works, and the reason that makes it so customizable and so flexible, is that you're not restricted to what your products or your content should look like or what information should be a part of that. Everything's made up of individual fields, and so you can add additional fields or remove fields or do whatever you need to do in order to make the product or content exactly what you need it to be. So just to kind of show you what makes up this product page, obviously we have a title field. We have a catalog image field, and so that catalog image is what appears in the catalog pages. So when you're searching for the product or you're looking through the catalog and you see the image and the product title, this is the image that is shown. We have our short description. Or maybe I'll jump back to the product page to show you as we go. So here's our short description right here. Next, we have our long description and our specifications, which are shown down below here. Then we have our categorizing options. So what taxonomy-based category this product belongs in, as well as the brand for this product. And here's, we're using a special category for being able to put a product on clearance or featured or some other special use cases. Next we have the variations. So right now we're looking at the overall product page, but within each product are your variations. The variations are the variations of this particular product that you would actually purchase. So here we have like a clear white silver version, clear green black, clear green gold. Um, so if I edit one of these, so these are the versions of this particular mason jar product that you might buy. And so each version has to be added into the system. And you can have as many variations as you like. There's no limitation to it. You could have one variation if it's just one single product and there are no there's nothing to change. It's just, it's a one-off thing. In this case, we've got a variety of variations because there's a bunch of different color options. But you could have thousands of variations. There's no restriction in the system and how this would work. Right now, everything on this site is entered manually, but there we have we've worked on websites where instead of doing everything manually, there's an import-export feature so that if you have a spreadsheet that's up to date with all of your prices and all of your product variations and stock levels and all of that type of thing, you can quickly export your current site, make those changes in spreadsheet, which is often a little bit faster, and then re-import that spreadsheet back in, and it'll make all of those changes in bulk quickly and easily. So that's kind of a nice feature, especially for larger sites or sites that are changing very often. So getting back to the variations here, just like the product page up below, each variation is made up of fields. So we've got our SKU, a unique SKU. We've got obviously the price of this variation. We've got the image. So this is when the user is choosing their options here, and they're selecting which variation of the product that they want. This is the image that they're being shown here. Then we have our glass color, straw color, and lid color. These are all the product attributes. So after I go through this, I'll jump into product attributes and just kind of show you how those are set up and configured. So here we've got our options to select, which attribute fits with this variation. Then we have our weight and a UPC code. So weight would be used obviously with shipping. Drupal Commerce is Drupal in general, but Drupal Commerce, because it's built on the Drupal platform, is very extensible. It connects with APIs, like I've said before, and so this is kind of an example of that. So with the shipping module that's added in here, we can also integrate with things like UPS or Canada Post or FedEx or any of those shipping providers, and they would use the weight, also potentially box dimensions or product dimensions for configuring and automatically being able to give the customer the correct price for shipping based on those bits of data. And from an admin point of view, if someone were to purchase a product, those integrations can let you print your shipping labels and do everything like that right in the admin interface here without having to do anything extra. It can just be automatically done, and you basically just click a button that says print shipping label and attach it to the box, and it's ready to go. This demo, I should mention, doesn't have that in there, but these are the things that can be done with Drupal Commerce and relatively easily. So then we also have the UPC code. So this demo does have a point of sale component linked in. The nice thing about that is that you can use Drupal Commerce as your single source of data to run your e-commerce, whether it's online or offline. So if you have a storefront or if you have a promotional booth or a kiosk or something like that, that's a physical storefront. You can use the UPC code field and the point of sale extension for Drupal Commerce that gives you that point of sale option so that people can scan a product barcode and it'll come up in the point of sale interface, and yeah, your cashiers or whoever can check out the product there. If we have time at the end of this, I can possibly show that a little bit, but right now I'm just going to move on. All right, so all of your product variations, once they're all configured, you just have them in a large list here. And then so you can easily go in and edit or change or remove them as needed. A stock module can be added in that basically allows you to set the stock for a specific number of items or for your products. If that stock level gets down to 0, it would automatically remove that product from your or that variation from your product until you've resupplied or restocked. There's a bunch of different configure options that can be available with that as well. So down below here, finally, we have our recommended products. So this is where we've entered what recommended products fit with this this particular product. So if you had a chair, you could put the matching table, that kind of stuff, maybe some cups or a dinner set, something like that. You can do all that quite easily just by literally searching for the product that you want to link to and selecting it. And then finally, with each product, we have, in this case, we have our user reviews. So this just sets whether or not those the commenting ability for this product is open or closed on this specific product. And then we have our save and published options. If I scroll back up at the very top, we have lastly we have this visibility settings. So Drupal Commerce out of the box allows you to have a multi-store or run multiple stores from one interface. Where this is useful and where we have this demo set up for is for your online and your offline store. Just thinking about that point of sale that I was mentioning earlier. So here under stores, we can see online store, and then we have a fake downtown Chicago store. If this product is only available online, we simply just need to check that. Just make sure that the online store is the only one checked, and then when we save it, people shopping online are only going to be able to view it there. Any of our cashiers that might be in that downtown Chicago store, they wouldn't see this product. It wouldn't be there, and that's how you can manage inventory quite easily for multiple stores. All right, so that's kind of how you might edit a product, what the admin interface would look like for your store managers or your store, your product owners. Next, I'll get into our product attributes, and so the different components that kind of make up the product. So first here, we've now kind of covered our products and our product variations. So now let's take a look at those attributes. So attributes would be found under Commerce, Product Attributes. And here you see a list of all of these unique attributes that have been created for this demo site. We've got our glass color, lid color, and straw color that you saw in the in this mason jar product. We also have size for shoes, size, small, medium, large, etc. for clothing. And then we have, talking about those unique products at the beginning of this webinar, we've got some example attributes that are for some of those specific unique products as well. So let me just jump into the maybe the size attribute here, just to show you what that looks like. All right, so so we've got the name of the attribute. We've got the element type. So this is basically how that attribute would appear on the screen for the customers to select it. So right now we have 3 options: radio buttons, a select list, and rendered attributes. So just to give you maybe an example of how those end up rendering on the screen, if I go back to the mason jar, these would be considered a rendered attribute because you can actually see the color. But a rendered attribute can be used for something like an image if you're trying to show a texture, or anything like that. A dimension can be whatever you need it to be, really. Like I said earlier, it's all fields, and so however you configure it is however it'll work. So you can do almost anything with it. So another option we have here is the drop-down select list. So that's what it might look like here. So going back then, so product variation types. So this allows us to select what type of product variation will use this attribute. So you can see here that clothing is checked, and that's the only one. This attribute is only being used in a clothing setting on this site, but you can potentially use it, however you need to. Next, you have your available values. So we have small, medium, large, and one size fits all. We can optionally add additional values if you needed to add extra small, extra large, those types of options. You can just add them here. Once an attribute has been added, then when you're creating your product or editing your product, you're then able to select that attribute when you're setting up your product variations. And yeah, so it's a pretty simple interface for managing these values. The extensibility, just as I've said quite a few times now, on how you can really customize Drupal using the fields, whether it's content, whether it's a product, whether it's an attribute. Quite often you'll see this Manage Fields tab, and this is kind of where you might go to set up the type of field that would work for, in this case, this attribute. By default, there's just a plain text field, which is what we're looking at here. If we needed to add a color field or an image field as well, this is where we'd actually add those fields. I could show you a bit of an example of that actually while we're here. I'll go into glass color, edit that attribute. So here you can see we have the name, but we also have the hex code, the color code attached to the value. So if I go into Manage Fields, you can see that we've added a color hex code field. Field type is color, so that's just kind of gives you an idea that type could be color, weight. It could reference something else. It could be an image. It could be a video field. It could be a map. It could be, whatever you need it to be. And so, yeah, once you have this set up, then we can also configure how this attribute or how these fields get displayed on the edit form. So that would be back on here. So how your admins would see it when they're editing these things. And then Manage Display here would be how it's rendered to the user on the front end of the site. So how it would be rendered here. So you have a lot of options in how to use these fields in whatever way you need. So once you have a field added, so let me just go back to my attributes, and let's go edit another product here. So I'm going to go to a shirt this time, some clothing. So here we have this nice tank top, and you can see our sizes that we've selected. We have small, medium, and large. So let's edit that and see what that looks like. All right, so if I go down, scroll down to my variations, and I edit the small, you can see here that I've selected the size attribute here as small. I could, if we're out of stock on this and I manually want to remove this variation for whatever reason, I can just click remove here, ask me if I'm sure, remove it. That variation's gone. We now only have medium and large, and save that. So now when I'm looking at the product here, we only have a medium and large option. It's pretty easy to manage those attributes. Adding is basically the same way. You just click a button, add it, fill out the details, and once it's finished, it's added to the cart. So I've done it manually. Like I said before, stock module can be added to control inventory that way. If stock reaches 0 or a defined level, then it could be automatically removed that way, and it's not as manual of a process. There's lots of automation features that can be added like that. And that basically goes over, I guess, what I want to cover with products and adding products and creating products at the moment. So let's move on now to order management and checkout flows.
Hey Hubs, just before moving on there, quick
Yeah,
question. So
sure.
as you went through and you made that change, you removed the small option from the sizes there.
Yeah.
Just for people when they go to log into the site on their own time and they make changes, that's one of the things that would automatically be refreshed the next day, right? So if they go in and they make changes, delete pictures, make whatever changes to attributes, variations, fields, all that will just automatically reset the next day, correct?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so you can go in, you can remove, you can add, you can do whatever it is you want. Try and get used to the site is the idea, and how it's managed. But anything you do, whether it's good or bad, yeah, it'll be gone the next day. It'll be
Perfect.
starting from scratch again.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep, thanks, Jared. Okay, so yeah, so moving on to order management and checkout flows. Um, so not all products are the same. Uh, some products require shipping. They're physical products, and so when your user or when your customer um, is checking out, they'll need to provide shipping details and things like that. Um, However, some products are digital. We've got a UH Epic mixtape by Urban Hipster, kind of an example of a digital product that would be a download. So you don't actually need shipping details in this case because it's a digital product. All you need is the customer to maybe you'd want to make them sign up for an account, and then they would pay for it, and then they would have access to their download after they've completed the checkout, but no shipping is needed. And you might also have products like this Sir Mix-a-Bit Urban Hipster DJ app, where it's also a digital download, but it's more of a licensing thing where you're trying to get access to the full version of this app. And so you can go down at the bottom and see your pricing options, whether you want to pay monthly, bi-yearly, or just like a yearly fee. And so this is another example of a digital product, but this is more of a subscription-based digital product where completing the subscription just means that the billing is recurring monthly or bi-yearly or yearly or however it's configured. So all of these products are different or require different checkout flows because it can't be the same for each one because some require shipping, some don't, etc. So the way that's managed is you have under Commerce, if we go into our configuration and we go under, let's see here, orders, we have order types, order item types, and checkout flows. So if I quickly dip into checkout flows, you can see we have those three options I described right here, digital recurring, download, and shipping. So if I edit one of these, it's a drag and drop interface that you can configure pretty quickly and easily. What you need from people checking out for those types of products or those types of orders. So we've got login or continue as guest. It says here in the settings, guest checkout is allowed. In the order information, we're looking for the contact information for this user, just an email. The shipping information and payment information, because it's a physical product, we need shipping information. Then there's a review step where they can review the details that they've put in. Then the payment process would happen after they've agreed to complete the checkout. And then finally, you get your completion message and what the user would see. Then we have a sidebar area or region in the checkout that also, in this case, displays an order summary and a coupon redemption if a person is using a coupon. So let's just see what this checkout flow looks like. Right now, we're seeing how it's configured. Let's see how it actually looks. So if I go back to the site here, and I go to our cart, we already have some mason jars in our cart. So here's the first step. Because I'm already logged in, it's not asking me to log in again. So now we've actually moved on. Actually, let me go to checkout here. So now we've actually moved on to the order information page. So that's this section right here. So looking for contact information, shipping information, and payment information. So here we have it here. So here's our shipping information where we've pre-filled the form with some just example content, so just to make it quick and easy. Then we can choose our shipping method. So the options we have at the moment are flat rate shipping and pickup in store. But this is where if you did add an integration for UPS or any other shipping provider, you would see these additional options here, and as well as potentially real-time quotes for the customer, as well as to how much the shipping would cost through those services. They can pick the option that suits them best. And then we have our payment information. So we have a saved Visa that is saved just in this user account that I've logged in with. Then we can optionally add a new credit card, or we've thrown in just kind of for fun, just to show what you can do. Email money transfer, bank transfer, a check, or pay in store option, which actually defers the payment so that you can then go pick up your product. If you also chose the pick up in store, then you can pay for it in store as well. Jared, did you need to jump in there with something?
Just a question that came through there. So with
Sure.
shipping and payment information, does anything change if it's international, whether it's international payments or if you've got stores kind of in North America and then over in Europe? When you get to this stage, would anything have changed, or will it be set up specifically for the store that you've gone through the product and selected the product from?
Right. Okay. So this demo is only servicing customers in the US. But if you did have a setup where you needed additional countries or you had multiple stores, then you can configure it to handle that. And then the screen would look the same, but what you would see would change. So you might see a country drop down here, or if even better, the site might have like a location, might be able to take the location from the customer's browser, and so it already knows that they're in Canada, or it already knows they're in the States or in the UK or wherever. So all of that type of thing can be done quite easily, actually.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep. So then we also had in our sidebar there, we've got our order information. So here's our summary of our order. We've got a variety of discounts that have been automatically applied. One of the promotions is an automatic 20% off. This is a store-wide promotion that we've configured. I don't know if I'll get to it today, but if you're looking at it on your own time, it's all under commerce and then promotions. You can actually see these promotions and modify them there. And then we had also set up a very specific promotion that was, if you buy 3 mason jars, then you get 1 free. So the mason jars are $8 each. So you can see that we have 4 mason jars in our cart. So this discount has automatically been applied and taken $8 off of our order to give you that free mason jar. So you're getting quite a deal right now. And then coupons, if we had additional coupons, you could add them here and just apply those coupons. So this would be a coupon code. So if, say you had shipping and you printed out some coupon codes that you could send with your shipping package, and the next time the person checks out, they could apply that code for $5 off or something. This is where they can actually add that code in just out of the box. All right, so things are looking good here. So I'll just continue to the review step. So as you can see, we're on the next step here, review, and it shows us our information that we've entered. Again, it has our order summary here. This time we have shipping and taxes added as well. And that's another thing to talk about actually is taxes. Depending on how your taxes are configured, If you're in a different country, a different state, the states has a quite complex tax structure. All of that can be pretty easily configured so that wherever your user is submitting their payment shipping information from, the proper taxes will apply. If it's in Europe and you need a VAT or something like that, it's all quite easily done. And for complex taxes, such as in the US, there's integrations with services like Avalara that will automate the taxes for you, so you don't have to manually enter what the taxes are for all the different state and regional taxes and stuff like that. It can be done automatically, so you don't have to do anything. All right, so let's complete our purchase, paying complete purchase. And there we go. So now we get just a basic complete page that can be customized, but in this case, out of the box, you get your order number and a little message saying that you can view your order on your account page when you've logged in. So as a customer, I can go to my account page up here and I can review my orders that way. If you're calling in for support or email support, that kind of thing, you can provide the order number, and the staff, the store staff, are able to then also go in and check out orders and find that order number. So I can maybe move on to that now, actually, so you can see now how the order is managed now that we've got an order completed.
And when you submit this order, you can also have the option of getting an automatic email, like an email receipt, where we'll have that information, like your order number and everything like that too.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so an email has been sent to a site email. I can't bring up at this moment, but yeah, when an order is complete, the contact information that was provided, the email that was provided by the customer, they would receive an email that has a nicely laid out receipt and summary of their order as well. That includes all of these details. The order number.
That way they have it if they need to make a call in and talk about their order or anything. They have all the information in their inbox.
Yeah, that's right.
Perfect.
Okay, so now we have a completed order. So now what does that look like from an admin point of view? So if we the store will also receive email notification that an order has come in. The store owner or whoever's configured to receive that email. So then from there, you can log in, go to Commerce and Orders. And so this is a screen that shows you all of the orders that have been placed to date. You can search by order number. So if we needed to search for order 58, I mean, it's the first one in the list here, right here. But if we needed to search for that specific order number, we can filter by it. There it is there. So the details for this order, we can see the number, we can see the date that it was placed, the type of the order that it was, where it was placed, in this case, our online store, the customer's information, their username and their email, the state of this order. So right now it's in a state of requiring validation. And then we can see the total of the order. Before I go in and manage this, just want to quickly mention that there's a tab up here for carts. So people who haven't completed an order, they still have a cart, and that cart is assigned an order number. And so a cart, when that order has been placed and completed on the front end of the website, the cart then becomes an order. But what's kind of interesting about that is that this is what allows your customers to save a cart or to save kind of their products that they've added so that they can come back later on and complete the checkout later. If somebody had a question and they wanted to call in or email you about an order before they place it, the admin staff can actually go and view those carts as well. and even add products and stuff like that, and kind of manage the customer that way. All right, so let's look at the validation and how that would work for the staff that would be receiving this order and needing to fulfill it. So if I go and edit this order, and I'll actually go to the View tab up top here. Here we see a nice summary. So we've got our product that was added, the price, the quantity, the total. We can see all of the information as far as tax and shipping and discounts that have been applied. And we can see the order activity so far. So we can see that at this date and time, the product was actually added to the cart. The order was then assigned to the admin because the product was added, and because I was logged in, it got assigned to that user. Admin is the user that I'm logged in as. And then we can see that the order was then placed. So we get this nice activity timeline. Over on the right-hand side, we can see some information as well when the order was placed, when it was changed last. We can see the information for the customer, their email and their username. We can see the billing information and the shipping information that was provided when they checked out, and then also the shipping method. They chose to pick it up in store in this case. So in order to validate this order, so our staff now knows that this order has been placed and it's ready to go, so we can validate that order there. You can see the status has changed, so now we need to actually ship this order, or the customer needs to pick it up. So say the customer in this case comes into the store, they come up to the till, they say, yeah, I placed order 58, waiting to pick it up. You might have that package already sitting at your till ready to go. So you hand it over to them. They're happy, they take it out. Your staff then logs in, goes to this order and hits fulfill, which then has now completed this this process, this fulfillment. So we can see the order was fulfilled. The status message here says it was now completed, and you can see the actual date and time that it was completed as well. And we're good to go. So if I go back to my orders, you can also see in this screen here, the order overview screen, that the state has been changed to completed here as well. So pretty easy to manage your orders once they come in. Not much to it, mostly just clicking a few buttons and you're good to go. All right, so let me move on then to the next topic, which would be blogging capabilities. Jared, is there any questions or anything that you want to ask before I move on, or am I good to go?
No, I think you're pretty good to go. The one that come up was in the cart section. Can you finish a purchase if there's carts in there, if you're in the admin? So if somebody phones in, they've got a cart, they want to review the order with you, can you finish it in this section, or do they have to go back and finish it? Does the customer have to go back and finish it on their side?
Either or, actually. So I've clicked into a cart. So let me just go back here and do that again. So I went to the cart tab, I found an order, edit that order. So here you can actually see that you do have your billing information that you can enter for the customer. You've got the customer information if they were logged in. You can see that the state of it, it's a draft, meaning that it's in the cart. You can optionally add adjustments if you needed to add tax or anything like that right here. You can also apply coupons right here. And then there's this payments tab, which allows you to go in and add a payment for this person as well. So in this case, I think if they were calling in and they wanted to pay by credit card, you would just set the payment gateway as credit card. And let's see here. I think in this case, we have a save payment. So I'm not quite sure exactly offhand how that would work. I know it can be configured so that the like staff would be able to check out somebody over the phone, something like that. I'm not sure if it's configured exactly right here, but this is where you would actually do it.
Yeah, no, but the functionality's there. You can see if you get credit card, select that, input the credit card manually if need be, or whatever the
Yeah,
system is.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Or you can just have the customer go through and do the checkout if they want it shipped somewhere else. They need a different address or something like that.
Right. Yeah. It's either or. Your staff can do it, or they can go back and do it themselves.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. All right then. So I'll move into a bit about the blogging capabilities, because, and this is actually a good point to touch on, because uh, when we're thinking about Drupal commerce, a lot of times we're just thinking about the store side of things. And it's not uncommon for people using other platforms that they'll actually have their store managed in one place, but then they might have their blog managed somewhere else. Um, and those two things aren't really synced up very well. So as I mentioned near the beginning of this conversation, is that Drupal Commerce is built on top of Drupal, and Drupal at its roots is a content management system. It's a blogging platform. It's made to publish content. Um, and so when we've installed the commerce module, we get this little commerce tab here that gives us all of our commerce functionality and management tools. But the rest of this is all kind of just default stock Drupal. And so we've got our content section. If I click into that, just like we had all of our products listed and all of our orders listed on the screen, this is actually where we can see the content side of things. So if I can change my filters here, I can see what the content types are that are available. In this case, we do have a blog post content type. So I can filter by that and see just the blog posts that have been added to the site. We don't have too many, but if you had hundreds of them, they would all show up right here. And let's just quickly kind of jump back to the website front end here, and I'll kind of show you what the blog looks like in this demo site right now. So if I go over to blog, all right, so we've got a list of blog posts that have kind of the title, when they were posted, by who, or what user, in this case the admin. We've got an introduction, read more, and then we actually have some categorization for where these blog posts, how they're organized on the site. Then over on the right, we have a recent post blog feed that just kind of shows you all of the most recent. And if I jump into one of these, or read more. So now we're looking at an example of a full blog post. So we've got that nice featured image. We've got some sharing tools, some sharing options so that customers or people viewing the site can share the blog post with their social networks. Then we have our store, or our title story, sorry, and then we've got the full blog post right here. So this is a pretty basic example of the blog, but it's kind of your default features that every blog needs. Like pretty much every blog out there is going to have a featured image. You need a way to share it. You need the content of the blog on the site, which is what we have here. And then usually you're going to want to be able to categorize that blog into different just categories. And usually you also want to show who your authors are and things like that. Down at the very bottom here, we have a call to action for a newsletter sign up. That type of thing, those call to actions are very easy to add on a page by page basis or site wide or however you need it for if you wanted a call to action just on a blog. The way these things work is you have your content area, which we're looking at here, and then all around the template, you can't really see it here, but all around the template, you have different things called regions, and those regions allow you to insert additional content or call to actions or images or promotions or whatever it might be into those regions, and then assign how they're displayed. Okay, so then going back to what this content looks like when you're actually creating or editing content. I can actually give you an example here. So if I wanted to add a new blog post, I could go content, add content and blog post. I could enter a title. Let's see here, Drupal Webinar 101, post date, we'll leave it as today. What category it fits in, I'll just put it in general for now. Blog post image. Let's see here, I probably have an image I can use just on my computer here. Let's use this one here. There we go. And then our blog content. Let's just get some dummy text here. Copy that, paste that in. If we wanted to, add an image in here, this is just a WYSIWYG editor. What you see is what you get. So you can add using the tools up here. You can format the text in any way you need. You can use bullet lists, numbered lists. You can insert images, add block quotes, horizontal line like rules, tables, add links. You can do anything you need to do to really fill out the content. But just for this demonstration, I'll just save this. Oh, I need an alt text. Save that. All right, so there we go. So now we have our latest blog post. Got our header image there, and then our blog post has been added. You can see it's been posted in general. If I go back to my full blog feed, we can see that it's the most recent in the list here. It's also been added to the recent posts. So yeah, so basic blogging functionality is really easy to achieve. But just like anything else in Drupal, like with the products and anything, the content that we're looking at is all made up in fields. So we have a pretty basic set of fields here that we're filling out in order to generate this content, but we can expand on that as much or as little as we need to in order to really create a really great, really robust blog. And actually, that's something that'll probably over time be added to this demo. If you check back later on, we are continually adding new features and updating the demo with additional features. So at some point, this blog will probably start getting more additional features and stuff as we make the demo more robust. Let's see, and actually one other thing to touch on that that any blogger is going to want to know is SEO stuff, so search engine stuff. So with this, currently with the demo, if I go into one of these blogs and just edit it, we don't really have too many options at the moment for like SEO type stuff. But Drupal out of the box does come with a module, an extension called meta tag. It's just not enabled for this yet. And that module allows you to really get into the keywords. So you can set the title of the article, you can set the description, keywords. You can set that you do or you do not want this article to be crawled by robots, whether or not the robots can also follow links on the post. You can actually define specific images that would get used in Twitter or Facebook or other social platforms if a person were to share this article with somebody. So instead of it just finding the first random image it sees, you can actually customize the image that gets displayed. All of that stuff. And there's so much more to it as well. It's actually a really robust search engine optimization tool called meta tags. And like I said, it comes default with every site. It's just whether or not it's enabled and set up. One of the reasons why we don't have it set up on this site is because this isn't an actual store. We don't want people just randomly finding it and thinking that they can actually purchase and complete purchases and give us credit card information and stuff like that. Like we don't want people doing that. So we pretty much have the SEO aspect of this site locked down for that reason. All right. So, Jared, I think that covers all of the topics that have been requested. Is there anything else you think we should touch on? Any other questions?
Yeah, just in the essence of time, I think we'll keep it down just to two that have come through from numerous people. One of them has just been on. You mentioned earlier about integrations with shipping and payment gateways. If you maybe just kind of elaborate on that a little bit, and then the other one was just on migration, which I think you kind of touched on when you're talking about the Excel sheets. Maybe if you just give a brief overview as to what that would look like or what that process would be, I guess. And then we'll probably wrap it up after that.
Okay. So integrations. Drupal itself is API first, and what that means is that um, it's been built in a way that allows it to connect with other services that are also API based. So if you need if you need a shipping provider or a more robust shipping that somebody else provides, then you can build those connections between Drupal or Drupal Commerce and those services, so that they talk to one another and so that they work together. So in that way, you can do. There's a lot of modules that are already out there that exist, but there's always more being built, and that's one of the things that we do a fair bit of are those integrations where if you're looking to automate a part of your business and there isn't a solution already, there's a good chance that there is actually a solution out there. It just needs to be integrated into Drupal and so that you have that functionality and you can let those two platforms talk. So instances where you commonly would see this, and what we've done and helped clients out in the past with, is things like your taxes. So if you're trying to set up your taxes on your site, like I said before, like you can connect with Avalara, which is a third-party service that has an always up-to-date current tax list, and so that automatically that can talk to your Drupal site so that your taxes are always current and up to date whenever a sale takes place. To do with again with more to do with the financial side. So if say you're using QuickBooks Online or something like that for your taxes, an integration exists, or can be made, that actually syncs those two things. So when an order comes in, that information is automatically pushed to QuickBooks Online or whatever tax solution that accounting solution that you use, so that it automates that process. So you're not manually entering that, or you're not manually exporting that data and then importing it somewhere else. Mentioned before, shipping providers, UPS, FedEx, Canada Post, any shipping provider really has an API that can be connected to, that allows you to get those shipping quotes live and on the fly and accurate based on what your customers are buying, and also be able to provide printed shipping labels and things like that once an order has completed, to just speed up again that process. From a marketing perspective, you can hook into email services like MailChimp, so that, like down here, we've got this newsletter sign up. This right now is just using Drupal's built-in web form, like form creation tool. But this could be replaced with something, an integration with MailChimp, where if you're doing all your email marketing campaign through MailChimp, this could actually be a MailChimp sign-up form embedded in your site that talks to MailChimp to allow you to collect that information on your website and send it to MailChimp. There's other options as well. Just to give you a more unique example, if there's we have a client who required customers to be able to put custom text on a printed mug or on a printed shirt or something like that. So the ability for the customer to be able to enter text and change the style of it or upload an image to display on the shirt. There's services out there. Customers Canvas is one of them that's popular. That we had to actually create an integration, which then allowed that customer's Canvas tool to be used within the product, so that when the customer was adding a product to their cart, they could actually draw or customize what was going to be displayed on the printed piece once they've completed the checkout. So all of those integrations and those things that can be done really open up what you can do with your e-commerce site and how you can automate it and make it more efficient and all of those good things that people want, because it affects their bottom line. So with a platform, an open source platform like Drupal, you can take what you might be paying a licensing fee to use an existing software, to use a SaaS service, and instead redirect those fees or something like that into the actual development and customization of your site to get it to do what you want it to do, as opposed to trying to work within the restraints of a proprietary platform or something like that. That's kind of the big strength, like maybe even the biggest strength of Drupal, is its ability to just do that, like do what you need to do with a little bit of developer support or agency support in order to build that functionality. And the other thing, sorry, Jared, what was the second thing?
The other one was just on migrations. Like, say you've got a site, on WordPress or whatever, or like a Magento Shopify site, and you're like, oh, you know what, Drupal Commerce sounds good for me. How do I go from A to B?
Right. Okay. So there is Drupal has some functionality that is in development and is quite far along. That's just called Drupal Migrate, and it has been built as a way of migrating content from one source into Drupal. There are a lot of edge cases that can make a migration difficult, but companies like Acromedia or other agencies that specialize in migrations can build a tool that or expand on that tool that basically allow you to take your website from whatever platform it's on and migrate to Drupal. And the way that would work is just in a very quick basic understanding of how that would work is that you have, say, a title field and an image field and a price field for products on one side. Then you would map those fields to the same thing in Drupal, and then you would run the migration, which then sends that information from A to B. Edge cases make that much more complicated, but not impossible. And then what it would happen is you would build the migration tool and make sure that works, make sure that you can get the information from A to B. Then your next step would actually be to migrate some sample data from your site to a new Drupal, in this case, a new Drupal install, which would then allow your site builders and your themers to go in using the data that has been imported. You would then build out the site as it would be a fully featured site and theme it, make it look pretty and all that. And then last, at the very end, you would actually have to take both sites offline momentarily and then run the actual migration. So you have like your staging site, your new site up, that's a Drupal site, you have your old site. Both sites get temporarily taken offline. The migration runs in order to add or to transfer all that information across. Then the old site gets taken down, and the new site and the staging environment gets moved to your production environment, and the Drupal site then becomes your site. And the reason why we have to do that migration right at the very end is because you have to be very careful about your user information and your order information and your like if you're keeping payment information, all those kinds of things. You don't want to be you don't want to have a mismatch of data So if you brought your Drupal site up too soon, but you hadn't migrated your content, but then from your old site, but then your old site had some orders or whatever come through, now that data is out of sync. Um, and so it's easiest just to kind of get everything prepared, working, tested multiple times, make sure the edge cases are figured out, make sure everybody's had a good chance to test and review. And then once things are ready to go, then you just do it all at once. And your site might be down for a little bit of time, but you can plan it, or often we'll plan it for times obviously that aren't peak, so like middle of the night or 1 a.m. or whatever, and so that there's minimal impact. And that's kind of the gist of how a migration would work.
Perfect. Oh, that's good. Obviously, migrations with edge cases get very complicated, so that's a good overview for sure. Just for the essence of time, we've gone a little bit over today, but we hope that everyone who was able to join us found this to be valuable. As mentioned, this is recorded, so what we'll do is we'll send out the video recording shortly after we hang up here. But thanks again to everyone who joined. Thanks to Mike for giving us the walkthrough of the Urban Hipster demo site. And all of our contact information is on the screen here. Obviously, you can call anyone at Acromedia, email solutions@acromedia.com, or visit our website at acromedia.com. All right. Thank you very much. Take care.